Card advantage is one of the most powerful resources in Lorcana. Typically, draw engines like A Whole New World achieve this at a significant cost. Your opponent gets to draw 2. But what if they didn't? Amethyst is the card advantage ink, and unlike A Whole New World, our opponent doesn't get to draw cards too. But once we have the cards, we still need to play them. This is where Sapphire comes in. With ramp tools like Fishbone Quill and Mickey Mouse, we can build up enough ink to play multiple cards every turn. Then you might ask, what if we run out of cards? Luckily for us, and to the frustration of Lorcana players everywhere, Amethyst also has access to the bounce engine, allowing us to recycle our cards over and over and over again. Sapphire Amethyst game plan is quite simple. We want to draw as many cards as we can, then turn most of them into ink. Afterwards, we can slam down our late game threats, but we've cheated out multiple turns early. There are really two modes to this deck. First is a reactive mode. We want to open with Olaf on 1, into Snake on 2, following with Fox on 3. This is so we can respond quickly to aggressive decks like Tiana aggro before they run away with the game. Secondly is our greedier resource mode. We'll be opening with Popsicle on 1, into Corella on 2, followed by Fishbone and Mickey on 3 to ramp. This opens a lot better into slower matchups like Sapphire Steel and Ruby Amethyst because we can access our mid to late game threats much earlier. After those opening turns, in the mid game we want to draw lots of cards and ramp while controlling the board with foxes. We can also play Cogsworth to protect our existing board with its resist +1 buffing effect. Now that we've safely made it to the late game, this is where the deck truly shines. We can utilize Elses to stun our opponent's board, applying lots of questing pressure which gives our opponent no room to respond. Or, if we need more permanent removal, we can play Hades to banish high priority threats to their inkwell. And if we run out of these resources, we can utilize our snakes and foxes to recycle Elsa and Hades effects, locking our opponent into an unwinnable situation. This deck actually has a lot of good matchups, especially considering how prevalent steel is in the current meta. You may struggle into high level Ruby Amethyst players, but because this is a rogue list, if they don't understand our deck, we can easily overwhelm them with infinite resources. This is a mid-range list, so you'll want to control the board reactively into aggro using our Amethyst bounce package. And into slower control decks, go for a draw and ramp oriented strategy to quickly build a resource advantage to slam down our late game threats as quick as possible. Mulligan for this deck is pretty simple, as long as you keep in mind what your opponent's game plan is. When going second, we tend to favor our reactive cards within the bounce package to control the tempo. But if we're up against a slow deck like Ruby Amethyst, we can go greedy with the ramp line regardless of if we're first or second. I would recommend always putting away your late game cards and uninkables except for Rabbit and Mickey. Regardless, as long as you have a 1-2-3 curve, you should be able to stabilize and get the card advantage and ramp engine chugging. In regards to other options, there are a couple cards I'd be interested in adding to DoodTCG's list. First is Judy Hopps. I found while playing the deck that we were often wanting a way to remove flutes and spellbooks that could close out games before we could set up. It would also have the added benefit of being an extra way to cycle our popsicles if we didn't find the Haram. Lastly, I think Nothing to Hide is really needed in the current meta. It's the only way as a Sapphire deck that you can consistently play around Ruby's removal tools. Thanks for watching. I've really been enjoying experimenting with new deck archetypes and ink combinations, and when this one pops off, it feels incredible. I would hate to be on the other side of this matchup and having my entire board stun locked by multiple and recycled Elsas. If you missed it, I've just launched a community Discord server. Make sure to join through the link below so you can participate in deck and meta discussions and play in some future tournaments coming soon. Okay, and for game 1 we are up against Sapphire Steel. This should be a matchup we're favored in. Okay, we are going second. Probably don't want to keep the Haram because we don't have a Popsicle yet, but we'll keep these 1-drops. Mulligan away our late game threats because we don't want them in the early turns. I mean, if Elsa comes back anyway. But yeah, we've got a proper curve here. We've got a couple of options. I think primarily our 1-2 is already sorted out. We're going to go Olaf Corella. We've played Nothing to Hide, so we've seen our hand. No, we have an Elsa, so that's something we might keep in mind for later. Definitely think we'll Ink and Olaf play an Olaf here. Very important early on, especially if you're going a ramp route, you want to be keeping your card draw, like Friends on the Other Side and Haram, so that you can have enough cards to ramp with later. I would ideally like to keep the Madam Mim, so we have something to sing Friends with. So I think Haram is something we don't need right now, because we have no Popsicle up anyway, because we have double Friends regardless. If we need to, next turn we could bounce Olaf back to hand to ink on 4. Or to ink with the Fishbone Quill. This is a situation where a card like Judy Hopps would be really nice, so that we could remove their Fishbone Quill. I think inking one Friends is okay here, because we'll make up for it by being able to recycle cards like with the Olaf here. I mean, actually, we might just want to recycle. No, we want the Merlin to stick. I'm not entirely sure. Probably want to bounce the Olaf just to ink with. Or we can just go straight for Rabbit here. Okay, we'll have enough for Let It Go on 5 next turn, so I think we'll ink with the Fishbone Quill, keep what we inked private, and then keep questing. Next turn we could sing Friends with Rabbit, and then bounce the Rabbit back to hand with Fox, triggering the draw again. Unless they go for a Tink here, which... Oh no, they just go for double grab your sword. So having gotten rid of our board, it does make our bounce cards a lot less useful. Luckily we do have a Let It Go in hand. They're probably about to Whole New World. I think we just want to ink as much as we can and remove what's on their board. Still have the Friends and the Haram if they don't end up playing a Whole New World. But yeah, they're forced to hard cast it here, which is good for us. So it's a good thing we inked. Use Nothing to Hide to see our hand again. We probably want to just start putting some aggression on them here now. So I think I'm looking at like a double goat play, so then we can just get some early lore. They're gonna be able to out-resource us in the end. Oh, although getting a Cogsworth on board early is super helpful. I think we can get rid of one Olaf. I don't really want to ink for Haram. I think inking one goat is probably the play. This way we can play a goat and play a Cogsworth to protect the goat. The Cogsworth is also pretty good into us because it stops us from being able to... Well, because its inherent ward effect means we can't target it with Elsa, Let It Go, and Hades. But same goes for our Cogsworth against them. We definitely want a Popsicle here, get that cycle, play a Haram to keep drawing. Really just building a wide board now that we have the Cogsworth up is going to be really beneficial. Something pretty tricky we could do here is we could bounce the Mickey back to hand, which in theory will let us ramp more cards. So I think we've already got the Hades, so we don't necessarily need the Let It Go. We can play the Madam Mim here and bounce the Mickey back to hand. So if they don't wheel away our hand, we can play the Mickey again for more draw. I'm worried they're going to wheel away our hand though, so I will be inking the Friends to play the Popsicle down so that Haram has something to draw with next turn. Because we don't have any rush cards, we are safe to quest with the Cogsworth here. If they're playing the Haram now, they might be searching for the wheel, or just some more removal tools and big cards to play on board. Okay, there goes the second Cogsworth, so there's nothing we can do to their board in terms of trading. But we do have a 9 lore advantage, so in a race to the face, we're probably going to win to 20 lore. We can get rid of that beast, however, to stop them from drawing cards, and we're definitely going to be doing that next turn. But Elsa would be good if it had prevented the beast's draw effect. But I think instead we're just going to get rid of the beast up, straight up like that. Draw more cards with Merlin, keep going wide. Use Mickey for ramp, and we can keep drawing cards with the Rabbit. Bounce the Rabbit back to hand. And I don't want to quest with the Cogsworth. Oh, sorry. I actually messed up here. Should have quested with the Haram first to see what our options were. Didn't make too much of a difference. I'm tempted to sing Let It Go the Haram here to stop them from drawing, and honestly that sounds like a great plan. Let's do that. And then just keep questing in their face. So their 2 cogs can't take out my single cog on their own, and if they don't have a Whole New World, they have no way of drawing more cards now. The third Cogsworth goes down, would be incredible in a Sapphire Steel Mirror. Doesn't do much to me here though. There goes Babel, which we can deal with Hades or Elsa. They're using the popsicles to heal up the Cogsworth so that we can't trade into them. Probably a bit pointless as we can't do that much damage anyway. We could do something really funny here. It would be a bit of BM, but if we wanted to, we can get rid of that bell now. And if we had a card to ink alongside the Fishbone Quill, we could bounce the Hades back to hand and then play it again. But because we can't do that, I think we're just going to quest for the win. Good. Why not get rid of a Fishbone Quill? More efficient to ramp with it first, but, you know, it's the final turn anyway, pretty much. And if we just play cards with a high amount of health that aren't going to instantly die to a grab your sword. Keep questing, play Merlin Rabbit. There's not really much they can do here with a top deck. And GG, 20-0 to Sapphire Steel. It's definitely a matchup that is quite easy for our list. As long as you play it correctly, you want to play the aggressor into Sapphire Steel. We may be a ramp list, but we are a mid-range list. So into control, we want to be more aggressive, go faster, take control of the tempo quickly to close out the game. Okay, now we're up against Amber Steel. This could be a Flute Song list, or it could be a Tiana aggro list. Hopefully it's a Flute Song list, as we're much weaker into Tiana aggro. This is a pretty amazing hand. I don't think we need the Mickey, as we already have the Fishbone Quill. For Haram, I want to keep in hand for the draw. We do want to look for a 2-drop, and Madam Mim Fox is not a 2-drop, so let's get rid of that for now. I think for now, we're going first, so we can afford to just go for the ramp play. So let's play Popsicle first. Okay, Rockstar Stitch still could be Flute Song. Cinderella, again, still could be Flute Song. Very likely that they can just remove any Olaf we put on board. So I definitely want to ink one Olaf and play a Popsicle here. The question is, do we play the second Olaf? And honestly, no. I would rather have a third Popsicle up, because that's a resource they have more trouble removing, right? And if they use a Benger, that's a Benger they're not using on our Fishbone Quill. But we're going first, so we're going to play the Fishbone Quill before they get to play a Benger anyway. Again, there's a Lantern. Could be a situation where Judy Hops would be really nice. Fishbone Quill. Question is, do we want to put an Olaf out here? Honestly, no. I think Olaf is better as a resource. I think maybe we keep the Elsa in hand because we want to ramp to it to control the board, especially if they're ramping out cards with Lantern. So we probably want to be going for card draw here so we can just keep ramping. So that means likely a Haram Flavisham next turn rather than a Cogsworth. Perfect. We can ink a Madam Mim, and then ink. I think ink a Goat because we want to keep the Cogsworth in this matchup, and that means next turn all we have to do is ink twice, and we're going to be able to get to the Elsa, which will heavily flip the tempo on this board. Okay, so they've gone for a cycle, only 2 damage to the Haram, not enough to clear it. Oh, this is absolutely incredible for us. So now we can easily straight away go with the Haram to draw into 2 more cards, which hopefully means we won't have to ink a good card. Oh, not the best. We are going to have to ink a good card, so we'll definitely ink the Mickey here. You know what? We don't need to ramp much anymore, so I'm okay inking the Friends so that we can preserve the Cogsworth so that we can protect our board. If we play Elsa now, they can't sing with either the Cinderella or the Ariel. And if they play a high target threat, they ramp out with Lantern, then we can play Hades. So looks like they're going to ramp out a Cinderella here. That's going to be perfect for our Hades to deal with. Oh, Rockstar Stitch, even better. Also a great target for Hades. So Haram, absolutely putting in work here, has drawn 6 cards total in 3 turns. We can ink the 2 Cruellas, save the Mickey. He can be put onto the board and ramp. Yeah, I think this is an amazing play here. So we go for the Hades, remove the Stitch, place down the Mickey, ramp another card, and then trade Elsa into the Ariel so that they don't have a Singer 5. Okay, we're going to ramp out another card with Lantern, maybe a big Cinderella this time. Oh no, they're just putting out an Ariel. They're searching for a card that can hopefully deal with the board we currently have played out. There's a Grab Your Sword. That's definitely a way of dealing with the board. We'll need multiple cards to take out the Elsa though. And there we go. So they've had to use a lot of removal to get rid of our Elsa, and next turn we can just play double Cogsworth to maintain our board. Play double Cogsworth. Why not play an Olaf? We could have avoided playing the Olaf and instead ramped with Fishbone, but I don't think the ink matters at this point. We're kind of just looking for board tempo. Nice, that's a great 2 cards to pick up. Keep drawing cards with the Mickey, then Hades can trade into the Cinderella. I mean, this is such an insane board to have out. Our opponent just doesn't have the resources to counteract what we're doing. They can wheel away the whole new world, but we have such an overwhelming board presence and double Cogsworth that they're just not going to be able to clear our board, and we can keep playing out cards to out-tempo them. Here goes a Beast, they're looking to draw cards. And a Queen, because we need a way of dealing with our board. Our best option is to try and draw cards, but can answer the current board state. So we'll put another... Oh, I didn't actually need to play another Haram. We already had a Haram on board. That's my mistake. When you've got so many units on board, it's hard to keep track of it all. Looks like we are fine, though. Definitely want to be raiding into that aerial. I think getting some goats out onto the board will be really useful now. We don't want to quest with our Cogsworths yet, because we don't want our Cogsworths being removed. So it seems like a brilliant idea. And we can ink a snake, because I'd rather keep the fox for the chance of, you know, another attack. And let's just put another Mickey out onto the board as an extra body. The next turn, even if they clear some of our board, we can just quest and then bounce a couple Merlin goats to close out the win. And GG. Easy, simple. Honestly, we felt like an aggro deck that game. That's how consistent this engine is, especially into matchups like Steel, where we're quite strong. Okay, and we're up against Ruby Amethyst. What was once considered the top dog and is now being challenged for that seat by multiple other decks. Let's see how our Mixed Berries Sapphire Amethyst list goes into it. We are going second, which tells me we're going to need a bit of a tempo line. So we really want a hard mulligan for a 1-drop, so that we have a way to play our Snake and Fox. I'm going to keep the ramp though, because it could be important if we miss that line. Okay, nice. We got the Olaf. Perfect. If we had a Cruella, we could have gone the Popscore line, but I don't think we can now. Cogsworth isn't that useful in this matchup, so I am okay with inking it. We need some board presence here to stop them from questing too often. It looks like they are also going the snake line, so we can trade evenly. Ink one of the Fishbone Quills, we won't need 2. Quest with the Olaf, and then play snake to bounce Olaf back to hand. Currently a complete mirror match. We are 2 Amethyst decks, so we will have fairly similar openers. That's the issue though. This is why we need the Cruella de Vil's, and we don't have any at the minute. So I think we're just going to have to go for the ramp line. So we'll trade there. I think ink a Fox. Play a Fishbone Quill. Ink a Mickey. And then play a Popsicle. Because we have no way of dealing with the mini right now, it's super important to just try and ramp as quick as we can so we can find answers. They're going to get a lot of quest though. Just off of these minis. Draw more cards. Oh, there's a Cruella. Perfect. So we can at least play this Cruella. Put that out onto the board. And I think we're gonna ink for Fox because card draw is super important right now. So the Cruella can deal with one mini, the Hades can deal with the other. And then they could have a Be Prepared, so we want to focus on getting ink and card. We want to focus on getting an ink and card advantage. That way, we still have resources to use post Be Prepared. I think they've made the right choice here to just quest with both and accept the trade. Let's get a Popsicle out here because this is a resource we can't remove. Oh, and we got heavily punished here. We didn't draw into an inkable card. You know what? This is a fine play as well, though. Trade into the mini here. And so we have an option to go to Elsa. I think we do want to ink for Rabbit. Maybe shouldn't have gone for the greedy play and Trying to get the pop square onto the board. I think getting the pop square onto the board was the winning play though, because then we have, you know, more options to draw cards if we top deck a Haram. Okay, so what we can do here is we can ink this, let it go. And then we can play the Elsa, so this will stall out their board. We can start getting some questing pressure. I don't know if it's better to... I think they can just be prepared. It's probably better to just Hades away the mini. And then they're on a +4, we're on a +6. So now we just quest to try and catch up. We really just need to play around the be prepared. They can go +4 from questing and be prepared. There's really no point in getting rid of the goats right now. Ideally, we could bounce the Elsa back to hand and stunlock them. A third goat! Oh, this is terrible. Oh, okay, we got an Elsa. We got an Elsa. Okay, I think... Okay, so if one quest, they go to 16, and then 3 die, they go to 19. The best play here is probably just to stunlock 2 of them. Or maybe trade into one. Can't quest. And then quest with our Elsa and Rabbit. No point healing the Hades as it can still die to anything. Well, if we didn't quest though, we could have set up lethal. I mean, we would have lost the lethal anyway, it looks like. So to win here, we need to get a Madam Mim card. Oh, that is not a Madam Mim card. It's whenever it leaves play as well, isn't it? +7. Not quite enough. So if we had quested for 2 there with the Hades instead of trading, we still would have lost by exactly... Oh no, if we had quested 2 there with the Hades by trading, we could have played the Merlin Goat to win. I guess that's a really good example of very tiny decisions you can make to adjust your gameplay and win the game. In this case, we would have won if we had chosen to just quest. Knowing that they had removal tools like Madam and Fox, we should have checked the numbers and then known that Goat would have put us in reach even if they traded 1 card.